Good evening and welcome, everyone. In according with our commission rules and regulations, there's a compliance statement that I must read, and then we will go with a welcome and according to our agenda. In compliance with notification requirements of Ohio Open Meeting Law and Section 101.021 of the Codified Ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. The boards and commissions of the City of Cleveland conduct its meeting according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Abstentions from any vote due to a conflict of interest, let the police go by, should be stated for the record prior to taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participates in the meeting has an opportunity to be heard, we ask that those of you in the audience, raise your hands and we will acknowledge you. And then we will be utilizing that method this evening. Typically, our meetings, when we give notice, are both virtually and in person. So with that, I'll turn it over to my illustrious co.
Good evening, everyone. I am the Reverend Dr. Lisa Maxine Goods, the very proud senior pastor here at the historic Shiloh Baptist Church, Cleveland's oldest Black Baptist church and the second oldest African-American church in the city of Cleveland, where we are celebrating 175 years this year. And so as a part of our history, making tradition, we are glad to welcome the first public listening session of this historic gathering of Black women, the City of Cleveland's Commission on Black Women and Girls. And so I want to welcome you here at Shiloh. Shiloh, we aim to do real, relevant, and redeeming ministry that matters. And this is relevant to the lives of the people here in the city of Cleveland. Couple notes of housekeeping. If you need to use the restrooms, out this door and to your right, you will find the second door on your left down the hall, the ladies' room, and further down a little around the corner, you will find a men's room. Also, you can also go to the back and down the stairs, and there is a men's room on the left side and a women's room on the right-hand side. Also, when you do ask a question, because as you can see, TV 20 is here, and this is also a large sanctuary. The windows are open to make sure that you are heard. Please make your way to the mic so that your question can be heard by all, your questions, your comments. I think that's all we need for right now. I'm going to turn the mic back over to our chair for the rest.
And so just within housekeeping details, we're going to ask our secretary to take the roll. Madam Chair, Catherine Hall, here. Madam Chair, Catherine Hall, present. Tanisha Fair, Commissioner.
Present.
Commissioner Dr. Lisa Goods. Present. Commissioner Councilwoman Stephanie House Jones. Commissioner Shamika Jones Taylor. Present. Commissioner Anastasia Shakorian.
Present.
Commissioner Damiana Willis.
Present.
Commissioner Lita Marie Wills. Thank you. A quorum is here. Thank you. And then the last housekeeping details is we are going to be approving our minutes from our first call on a motion to approve the minutes from our July 16th meeting that you received prior to our meeting tonight. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that the minutes be approved as read.
You got the second? Shamika Jones, second. Any abstentions? Any corrections? All in favor? Aye. Secondly, I need a motion to approve the minutes from the August 13th meeting. And Councilwoman House second. Any abstentions? Any corrections? All in favor? Aye. The minutes pass. The motion for the minutes pass. At this time, we're going to take an opportunity to introduce ourselves to you and tell you who we are, why we are committed to this commission, and what we do in our day job. So just only because I have the mic, and we're going to go start that way. I am Catherine Hall, and I have the privilege of being the chair for the Black Women and Girls Commission. I am committed to this work because I'm, like you, many of you, sick and tired of hearing our plight as Black women and girls. And I know that as women, we can do better with our own plight. And so I'm happy to be a part of this first commission and just getting this work started. I'm merely the conduit. We are all about collaboration and working together. We can't solve everything as a commission, but our goal is to pull together resources, to have conversations, and to work collaboratively across this region to get things done. So welcome and thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Stephanie House Jones, and I have the honor of being the councilwoman for Cleveland's Ward 7. And I'm just here to be able to, work to listen to the brilliance experience of Black women and girls to ensure that Cleveland is on a brighter pathway, because I know it's in us. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Lita Wills. I am, my role on the commission is I am the mayor's appointee to this body. My role, or as chairwoman says, my day job, I am the Commissioner of Health Equity and Social Justice at Cleveland Department of Public Health. And I feel very called to this work in honor of myself, in honor of my mother, in honor of my sisters, in honor of every woman in this room, to be a truth teller and to ensure that we are doing the work that is close to the ground in terms of opening doors and making sure that voices are heard and people have an opportunity to help shape their own futures here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Anastasia Sakaroon. My role on this commission is as the student representative. I was definitely drawn to apply to be a part of this commission as someone who was born and raised here. At the time, I was a law student, so definitely just wanting to elevate the unique experiences of minority students as graduate schools and undergraduate schools in the area, as well as my experience as a college guidance counselor prior to law school. So definitely here committed to elevating the concerns from people in that demographic and Black girls and as students. So thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Damiana Willis. I'm the executive director and founder of Queen I Am, which is a girl empowerment organization. We work with Black girls all day, every day. And so I've been doing this work for a little bit over 10 years, and I'm here to represent the little Black girls and their voices that sometimes are silent, and for them to understand that they have power as Black girls, so they know they have power as Black women.
Hello, everybody. I'm Councilwoman Deborah Gray, Ward 4. I am co-counsel commissioner to Stephanie House Jones. Only one council could be for the commissioners, but I am co-counsel to Councilwoman Stephanie House Jones. But I'm here to also to assist with anything that I need with the young ladies and how to move us forward, in the community, to give back. Thank you.
And I think at this point, it's appropriate to just stop and acknowledge the two councilwomen whose hard work created this commission. If we could acknowledge Stephanie House Jones and Councilwoman Gray, it's because of their hard work and fortitude that we have a commission.
As I said, I am Reverend Dr. Lisa Maxine Goods, so I'm the senior pastor here at Shiloh Baptist Church. I serve on this commission as the faith community representative to this commission. And it is apropos that I am also the first woman to be called to an established Black congregation in the city of Cleveland as a senior pastor. So not only, thank you, not only here at Shiloh, but in the city. And that represents the significant challenges of Black women in various fields. And so part of my dissertation research, because I'm also a PhD student in African American preaching and sacred rhetoric, is around womanist trauma informed rhetoric. And so how we look at the challenges of Black women in our sacred conversations.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Shamika Jones-Taylor. I am the Chief Operating Officer at St. Martin de Porres High School. I am here serving as a secondary high school representative. I believe in this work because at my core, I believe women are the cornerstone of community. And when your women do better, your community is going to do better.
Can you all hear me okay? I'm Tanisha Fair. I'm the Commissioner for Social Services. My regular day job is as a Racial Equity Associate at a think tank called the Center for Community Solutions. So we offer data and research to Health and Human Service agencies, policy leaders, other folks who are looking to do research around health and economics. And my role here on the commission is just to help other Black women like myself who, like Chair said, are really tired of seeing the outcomes that we have in the city of Cleveland. I wanted us to do better. So I'm excited to be here with you guys.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Eugenia Cash. I am the Secretary of the Black Women and Girls Commission and appointed by the Mayor's Office. My day job is I'm the Director of Social Services for the Prevention, Intervention, and Opportunities Unit in the Mayor's Office of PIO. And I am here because some of the inequities that we are discussing, I am her. And so I want to be a voice and a beacon for the community. And I've been a community advocate for over 41 years. Thank you. Also, there's a suggestion box in the back with index cards. So if you want to write any suggestions for us, please make sure that you fill out that card and put it in the box. Also, we have some resources and information tables downstairs as far as voter registration and some of the services that are offered at Cleveland City Hall. Thank you.
And any of you that might be, so my day job, I'm a diversity professional. My day job is Vice President of Diversity for Jack Entertainment. If any of you are interested in learning more about being a commission member and applying, we have all over the building tonight the QR code. We have some additional positions available, and we are currently recruiting additional members. And the QR code also has a link to our website to learn more about what we do. Quickly, I just want to tell folks, people say, well, what does the commission do? So from a charter standpoint, we serve at the capacity of the mayor on matters pertaining to quality of life for Black women and girls. We conduct research, public hearings, and issue reports, including quarterly reports to all members of City Council on the status of Black women and girls in education, economic development, healthcare, justice, and civil rights. We develop, maintain, and share information and referral services to respond to the needs of Black women and girls. We recommend policies, programs, and legislation to ensure equality of rights and opportunities for all women. We solicit grants and contributions on behalf of the City of Cleveland in furthering the purpose of the commission. And then we also, because we serve at the pleasure of the mayor, if he adds any responsibilities, we look at those as well. And so just to reiterate, our commission committees include research, public hearing and listening sessions, education, economic development, healthcare, justice, civil rights, membership, and recruitment. And please understand that in those roles, we represent all women and girls, all Black women and girls across Northeast Ohio in every capacity. We're very precise about making sure that when we have these conversations, we are talking about everyone. At this point in time, we're going to turn it over to our councilwoman and her co-chair, and they're going to be handling the flow of the evening.
All right, Commissioner. Yeah, so in this time that we have, because this is a listening session, what we would like to do is pose a couple of questions. We have 4 questions for everyone that's here, and we're going to go one at a time, have a question, and we want to just listen and hear from you all. So, Commissioner, would you like to start off?
Sure. I feel like I want to stand up. Okay. All right. I'm probably hyperactive is what the problem is. Okay. So we have 4 questions, and it's a listening session. Listening sessions don't work if nobody talks. Okay? So I respect your right to listen as well, to come here and listen to one another, but somebody's going to have to talk for us. So the way that we've designed this, initially we were thinking we might do smaller breakout groups, but the turnout here I feel like is manageable enough that we can have a decent sized discussion with everybody who's in the room, correct? There is a mic, this mic is on, correct, in the aisleway? There is a mic if you want to make your way to the mic. And I also will, Phil Donahue it, RIP Phil Donahue, for those of you who are old enough to remember him. I will come to you with the mic. Stephanie can do this side. We'll stick to our 4 questions, but our 4 questions are kind of open enough that we hope to get more commentary from you and more ideas and thoughts from you. And likewise, there will be enough time for your questions that you either brought with you to challenge us, or as they bubble up. So we can do a pretty much free form, but we'll start off with our first questions and let that be our conversation starter. So we want you to feel free to respond. If you're, you think you're loud enough and you're used to shouting out, feel free.
We need the mic still because it's people we're recording. So I know people don't like using the mic.
We'll run. We'll find you. All right. Stephanie, do you want to open with the first question?
So the first question is, what do you feel is the most pressing issue facing Black women and girls in Cleveland? Yes, ma'am. And please make sure you introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Bridget Smith Jackson, and one of the major issues facing women and girls in Northeast Ohio is housing quality housing, retention, and sustainability. And I want to go further. You mentioned to add, if you had something to add, I think that we overestimate our young ladies becoming women, and we don't have something like that in between a child and a woman. Even if they have a child, right? It doesn't take a maturity level to make a baby, but it takes a skill set and a maturity level to raise and maintain a household. So we're missing something in there, whereas they can go sign up for a place, but they don't have the skill set to maintain it, and the generational cycle thereof continues. So I would say housing and home ec, I think what it was once upon a day, what is it today in modern time? So something, that in-between piece.
So I appreciate this so much. Can you share a little bit of your experience in life that has got you to offer this idea?
So I worked over 20 years in a housing complex, subsidized housing in Ward 5. And so I started as a baby girl and became a woman there. And I was able to be directly, right? Like directly, my position started off as a tutor. I started off, I volunteered there as a tutor, and then over the years I maturated into director of social services within that facility. And so I was there with these families, with these women, and I'll just give one example of a 25-year-old who eventually moved away, but her circumstances that she lived in, she moved away with debt that's going to show up again because she didn't have a voice, she didn't have support, she didn't have resources. She moved away with traumas built on to her original traumas, but the things that they move away with, I don't think that society realizes or allows space for it. So you go from bad to worse. Or you go from, like, I don't know, I can't put my words together in this moment. But again, my experience, my commitment in life has been to show up in areas where I can be a vessel, I can be a support, I can be of assistance to my fellow American. And in most instances, given I'm in subsidized housing, it turns out to be women.
Who else wants to add? What do you feel is the most pressing issue facing Black women and girls in Cleveland? That look like a hand? Was that a hand?
Hi, my name is Cheryl Wilcher. I'm a divorce attorney. And listening to the young lady talk about housing, it struck me that there are many young women in high school and even younger coming out of college don't know what credit is. They don't understand that they need to start building credit. And when they do have credit, they don't know how to take care of it and maintain good credit in order to have proper housing. The other thing is mental health. I'm finding that a lot of young women don't know about not only their bodies, but they have children and they don't know how to take care of themselves after having children. So that's something that I would like the commission to also consider and look at, engaging young Black women in mental health services as soon as possible.
Thank you. You had your hand up.
Good evening. My name is Jeanette Wright.
Hello.
Sorry. In addition to what my two sisters said, as I think about the Black women in my family and in my neighborhood, I think about things such as wages. Living with a poverty mindset and not understanding how to overcome that. There is definitely a wage issue in the city of Cleveland. And so not being able to have sufficient wages, as well as just knowing where the resources are. So many times we and the Black community don't talk about going for counseling, as our divorce attorney talked about. So we don't talk about counseling and mental health. And so trust is a big factor or a big issue in our community, because we don't talk to other people about what we're going on and seeking out that assistance, and then being able to have someone that we can lean on so that we can get out of the situation that we're in.
Hello, I'm Lakita Dimes, and I'm a social worker of 20 plus years experience. And every one of you ladies that just spoke have touched on what I want to do with my second part of my career. Is, like she said, housing is a very big issue, because I've worked with children's services, and a lot of the youth were aging out youth and they were ending up homeless. And that leads to all of these issues they need, like mental health services, learning about credit, learning about how to stop generational traumas. So that is why I do want to work in tackling everything everybody said. So with the group home that I would like to start is to help with these supportive services. So to touch on every area that you ladies are talking about, even just etiquette. A lot of our young women, you don't know how to apply for jobs, don't know how to seek jobs. Unfortunately, some of them are dependent on, unfortunately, the male population, and they're dependent on other unfortunate circumstances. So everything you just said before me is exactly why I want to start the group home at H.U, so it can provide supportive services like mental health, teaching them about building financial wealth, and just teaching about healthy relationships, and even how to buy property, so you can not be dependent on others, so you can be more dependent upon yourself. So thank you all the ladies that just spoke before me, because you just confirmed what I need to be doing.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Reverend Kathy William Harris, and I'm the clinical director at the YWCA Greater Cleveland. And I also have oversight at the Norma Hurt Women's Center. And the housing is definitely the hit. And seeing it from the inside of the shelter, the women that are now predominantly coming in are much older. We have women there from 18 to 80. And now we have more seniors that are coming in. And it's a sad situation. So the housing for our seniors is something that is very important. Everyone either can't afford to go to a nursing home or they don't want to. And we have our mothers and grandmothers living on the streets. The shelter is overcrowded. The women sleep on mats on the floor. And if you're too old or you can't ambulate well, you can't even get in the bed because some of the beds are bunk beds. We just recently separated the shelter. We're at a second location on the west side at Walton because the Norma Hurst shelter on Payne is being under construction. They're making it a little bit larger. And while they're working, like they're doing the construction on our heads. So they did open up another site on Walton. So we have 100 or so women there and 100 and so on Payne. So every night there are at least 200 or more women who are homeless. And that's only the ones that make it to the shelter. The mayor did start a program to get the people living in tents out of the tents, and they have been able to house them and get apartments. But guess what? New tents are coming because housing is definitely a problem because it's not affordable. And in the areas where it is affordable, it's dangerous. So I would say that would be the greatest initiative with affordable housing, safe housing, and especially something to support our seniors who don't have anybody in their lives.
Hello, my name is Emma Robinson. I'm a grandmother, great-grandmother, great-grandmother, great-great-grandmother. And I just briefly want to touch on the situation in the homeless shelters for youth. And I don't think it's a subject that's really touched on. A lot of times we have children that are in the system and what have you. The younger children, I say up to about age 13, are pretty resilient. And then after that point, you start getting the youth thinking about their future. They start saying that there's no hope for them and what have you. You also fast forward, if they do wind up in a foster care situation and they age out, they're automatically on the street without a place to go. And it's very unfortunate. I had a personal experience, where I was contacted, about some family members, could we help them out and what have you. They had aged out the foster system. But that's not fortunate for all youth that reach that age. They have nowhere to go, no resources and what have you. And I think that's a topic that's really has not been touched on, and it's something that maybe we could, form something to address because it's really a pervasive issue. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Twyla Norris, and I just want to talk about some things that I did in the past. We used to have a student parent resource center at East Technical High School. Myself and one of my colleagues, that she's no longer in Cleveland, we started it. And we were more concerned about what was going on in school, why come there, there were so many issues going on in school. So we sent a little questionnaire to some of the students, and the main things that they wanted to know was about love, sex, and relationships. Sex with, should I have sex or should I not? Am I pressured? Relationship, how do I have a relationship with my teacher? Things that on that nature. These were just simple things. So what we did on lunchtime, this is when the parents could come into the schools. On the lunch periods, we had catered lunch. We brought lunch in, and we had sessions where we could talk about it, and and we also brought resources in. There's some of the resources that was in the schools that wasn't being utilized. So I think we really did some damage when we did that. And we had brought a lot of other people in, and I think it's still a need for it now, because majority of the things that's going on with our young ladies is because they don't understand relationships. They don't understand anything, about love. So we really have to, teach them that, or otherwise, they don't have self-worth. They looking for other people to validate them, and when they could learn to validate themselves and learn to love themselves. That's all I have to say.
I'm Dolores Henderson, and I'm not presently working anywhere. I'm a retired school teacher. And the last thing you said about love themselves is what I feel. Black girls, black boys, our community, but especially black girls, I think, we start maybe too late. Somewhere in early elementary school, or every time a child gets into a program, even in preschool, I think we need to teach that child, that girl, that she is somebody, that she is lovable, that she is smart, and encourage her to be all that she can be. Because I think basically they find their images in the wrong places, and so they don't have goals that they set. But I think if we start early, hopefully gracefully, we start early, we can put in those girls' mind that they are beautiful, that they are loved, that they can accomplish many things if they just work at it. That's all I have to say.
I just wanted to piggyback on Emma's comments. Actually, Emma, there is a program here in Cleveland called Community of Hope that is specifically for young adults who have aged out of foster care system. And in fact, I'm very involved in that program, and they work through the YWCA down there on Prospect. So that is probably an organization that we might need to partner with, or bring in a speaker to explain how the program works and how it has been very beneficial. I was in a group of 5 people from different walks of life, and we met with our young lady for a whole year, 1 day a week for a whole year. And in fact, she was 25, but she was still had aged out of foster care, had a child, and couldn't keep a job, and life just wasn't good for her. She didn't have good family support. And for the first time ever, at 27 years old, she had her first birthday party through our group. So just the little things that we think everybody is living through and going through, these children missed out on this in a lot of foster care situations. And I remember many of them saying that this was the first time that they felt like they weren't invisible, that somebody was seeing them and listening to them. And so the organization is called Community of Hope. So it does exist. So we might want to try and connect with that particular organization.
Okay, my name is Bridget again. So I just wanted to reiterate housing, retention, and sustainability. And I heard you all speak to the mayor's office, policy change, and things of that sort. So I want to make sure that it's documented. I see you guys taking notes. That policy hold in CMHA to a standard. I know that there's initiatives out there to hold in these private owners and regular housing to a standard, making sure that people have quality housing. And we need policy and procedure to push and ensure that both private and public owners are maintaining or doing what it says on paper on them beautiful websites that they're doing. Additionally, I have a question for the commission. Is there a social media page and the resources that individuals are sharing, is that available?
Hello.
Yeah, we did want to address the question here.
So yes, we do have a website and we have a social media page. One of the first things that these commissioners did was put together a resource list. We're personally believers that a lot of times people are not assisted because they don't know where to go. So that's a major focus of this commission, is to list resources. And if you go to that page and see that they are not there, if we need to add some or you represent some, let me know before you leave today and we'll make sure that it is on there.
You will also see after we are done with this meeting in the basement, we have set up a resource fair. So there are some resources that are downstairs, but that is also what our suggestion box is for. So there's a suggestion box in the back of the sanctuary. If there are resources you would like us to add, please do note that so that we can make those available for everyone.
Hi, I'm sorry, I'm trying to charge my phone, so I gotta sit close to the plug. My name is Casey Armstrong. I'm the director at the Euclid Public Library. I think you all need somebody from the Cleveland Public Library on your commission. But the question is, what is the one thing? And I think the problem is there is just no one thing, right? All of us as Black women, you have multiple things coming at you all the time. Someone was shot, housing disparity, wages, maternal health, mental health. I mean, you just never, I can't think of a day as a Black woman growing up in the city of Cleveland. It's like your day can start off joyous, and then by the end of the day, you've gotten some sad news, right? So I think that's the problem, is like, how do you prioritize and try to figure out where to put your energies and focus, especially when many of us have gotten to a certain level in our careers, or I misspeak, we've earned a certain amount of money, but that money is going quickly, right? When you're trying to help your aunt, or the lady who was talking about, we have moms in homeless shelters. So a lot of times we're so extended trying to help, trying to keep pushing the dial forward, trying to help our churches. This is a beautiful, beautiful church, by the way. But I'm saying, like, you all need help. You need donations. You need support. So I would say that's the number one issue. It's too many issues. And, where do you get started? And I would hope our library had done some work with the Center for Community Solutions. I think that's the name of it. They've been around for more than 100 years, I think. So I'm hoping that maybe this commission can partner with them because they do a lot of research. They've done a lot of research on poverty. And I remember asking them, like, what works? Like, what really works to help lift people out of poverty, keep them stable? And the response was universal basic income. And I know a lot of cities are piloting programs where they offer a universal basic income. So that's my 2 cents.
Good evening. My name is Chris Smith, and I am Senior Pastor of Restoration Ministries of Greater Cleveland. And one thing that I would say would be great for the commission to do, I'm hearing of all these resources and also the website, but a lot of people aren't familiar with the work of the commission, not even aware that the commission exists. So definitely not aware of the website, as well as many of the other wonderful resources that have been mentioned here. So I'm thinking 2 things. One, it would be great if the commission, and if you're already doing this, forgive me, partner with, like you're saying, libraries, clergy groups, whatever, where you become mobile. In other words, rather than just not that you're expecting people just to come to you, but create a situation where you are having visibility, where you're out in the community and putting on a bullhorn, basically. Here are the things that are available. Here are the people you can connect with, because oftentimes people will go to websites. I'm not speaking necessarily of yours, but people go to websites and links don't work. It goes to a dead page, et cetera, et cetera. So being mobile with your resources, letting people know in a clear way what's available in every category. Here's how you access these resources, and here's the name of some people, some human beings that you can connect with. Then the last thing that I'll say is there are a number of women, young women and girls who might have a learning disability and who are given great hope that they can reach their dreams and do X, Y, Z. By God's grace, they may get into a college or a community college or a trade school, and the wraparound services are not there. I know of 3 girls in particular in the greater Cleveland area who went to school away, who went to Kent State, who went to another type of college with great high hopes, only to fail because they didn't understand how to access accommodations, et cetera, et cetera. So just strengthening the relationships with schools, helping our girls to understand how to request the support that they need, and then creating avenues where they can not only request support, but where we will be confident that they will get the support that they need. Thank you.
If I could just respond to a couple of things that you've said. This is the start of our public face. And so we have worked hard for several months to build our infrastructure because we didn't just want to just jump out there any old kind of way. But we were also very intentional in wanting to not do things at people, but to do things with people. And so this is the first of a series of listening sessions because we want to do what you want us to do, not like some people tend to do is I make assumptions on what you need and I throw stuff at you. And so this commission is very intentional in that. Also intentional in our makeup because we do have people who are dealing with our young girls. We do have college students. We do have educators who are a part of this. I am the faith community representative. We have business and we have healthcare. We have a doctor who is on our commission. We are looking for specifically high school students to be a part of this commission. And so we do have those positions available because we do want to do exactly what you're saying, is to reach out to all of those constituencies, and women in unions is another position that we are looking at. But hearing those voices, and the last thing I will say is in dealing with our young girls, you mentioned the accommodations and the learning disabilities. This commission, we have been very intentional in our qualifications for young ladies who would like to come aboard, that we wanted to make sure that we were not being elitist. It doesn't have to be the honor roll student. It does not have to be the student that speaks the best, but it is someone who is interested in bettering herself, bettering her community, and just open into learning and to being a part where we can also serve as mentors for those young ladies as we are also hearing their voices and allowing them to represent their communities.
And I would just add another caveat to this. We are the commission, but as part of the commission, those items that I told you we were responsible for, we will be putting together community partnerships and committees. So we're hoping that those committees represent actual people who are in need of certain services represented on those committees. And so there'll be an opportunity for the community at large to participate in those too. And thank you for reiterating that we need to communicate. We've been real intentional, and You'd be proud of us because we push ourselves. What's missing? What voice is missing? Who's missing? What problem is missing? What solution do we need to replicate? Thank you. Yep, push ourselves and push the city. So this is the beginning of pushing the city. We can only do, like you, and I like what you said, we are doing what you want us to do. And we're committed to making sure that there are some solutions and that the numbers and the situations change.
Councilwoman, do you want to, after this one, move to the next question?
Hi, my name is Joanne Hall, and I appreciate this meeting, and thank you so much. This is long overdue, so I'm glad it is being addressed. I think for the city of Cleveland in general, we need to look at those social determinants of health. You know, food, housing, education, you know, those things affect Black women. And due to sexism and racism that Black women face both, I think this city has not lived up to, you know, the women built Cleveland. You know, Black women are at the heart of building this city and built Cleveland, and they have not given the recognition and the appreciation and have not been seen in all areas. There's not one area that Black women have been given their due in terms of, and so I think that affects people. We're also looking at sexism in terms of trafficking, in terms of health, in terms of lots of different things. And Bridget Smith Jackson started a program. We're doing community case management, and there was a group that got started out of that, and that group has been very effective. And a lot of people in here have been associated with that group, has been very effective in reaching the community, changing the trajectory of many Black women's lives. And we will continue to do that and continue to work in that direction. But I'm looking forward to great things. I'm going to hold you accountable, and I'm going to help in any way that I can. Thank you.
Awesome. So that is an excellent segue to our second question, which we were going there as a group. We were getting there. The second question to respond to is, what are your thoughts about the state of health and healthcare for Black women and girls in Cleveland? The state of health and healthcare for Black women and girls in Cleveland. Thoughts?
I just want to make a comment from what I heard from a doctor once. Black women are not getting the services that they should be getting from our health care, and that would be great, because I don't know why, you know, just a casual conversation, you know, she was like, the best care that you can get is not in the city, you go into the suburbs. Why should we have to travel to the suburbs just to get quality care? So that is something that we'll take.
What are you reaching? Thank you. Who else?
We know that nationwide statistics show that African American women do not get the maternal care that they need. The rate of death in terms of mothers giving birth, babies dying, is escalated among African American women. So something that we need to look into and bolster the research, and then also develop relationships with the hospitals and the women who are birth-giving age, so to speak, and help them to understand the things that they should ask for, the things that are red flags if they see this. Because sometimes a person will go to a physician, and if the physician is nice, they'll think everything is okay. But they don't understand that there are warning signs. Maybe they are going into preeclampsia, they don't know the signs. Maybe their blood pressure is too high, they don't know the signs. What are red flags? What are questions that they should ask when they go at each trimester? How frequently should you go when you are pregnant, et cetera, et cetera. So in a nutshell, helping them to be informed so that they understand the correct questions to ask. Another thing that we need to do, I would encourage us to talk about, I don't hear much about this, but the types of medications that our people are given. For example, we're given cheap blood pressure medications. You go to the physician and you get a medication for your blood pressure and it's only $1. But that medication, because it's a diuretic, strips you of your cartilage, strips you of your nutrients. And so you develop all other kinds of problems when people who don't look like us are given better medications, cost a little bit more, but down the road cost a whole lot less because their body's not beat up and torn down.
We're hearing issues of access, of quality. What else? What'd you say?
The access is what you mentioned, but that's what I was going to say. Access to quality health care for the community. My responses are a bit biased because my commitment is to a particular area. The demographics of that area, as previously mentioned, is social determinants, paying more attention and having readily available services. I will task the commission to accountability for the organizations that on paper, again, say that they do X, Y, and Z. How can we put in some things of accountability so to ensure it's beautiful to have UH Women Maternity Center on 55th, but are they providing quality services to the individuals that are going to that space and who's holding them to that standard? So to ensure that we are in fact getting quality care.
Excellent.
Hi, my name is Veronica Thornton. Most people just call me V. I know a few of you in the room. As far as healthcare go, as Black women, a lot of times we have a tendency to rely on Western medicine, and that's not our culture. And even if you believe in parts of that or whatever, we do need to have access to holistic health services because it will help us as a culture thrive. Everything they give for us is not for us. So that's something that we need to actually take into account as we approach healthcare. And also, creative expression, arts and culture is a big part of our health. If we can't express ourselves properly or give people the tools to express themselves properly, then we're going to have a lot of built up anger, trauma that's not addressed, things that can be addressed through our old ways that we've gotten away from. And the village mentality helps. So I just want to put that out there.
Damian.
Okay, so I was going to say I definitely agree with access, but also education. I feel like a lot of times they don't understand the vocab or the verbiage that they are using. So they're just shaking their head like, okay, but they're not understanding anything that they're saying. Being someone who experienced it with my own daughter, I had to go home and do my own research because exactly what are you saying to me? You're saying my daughter has a lung problem, but it's really her heart. So just being able to do your own research by having access to education and also not feeling, a lot of times I feel like the young people that we work with, they don't feel like they are enough or they are even in the space to ask those questions. But they are going through these series. When she said expression, they are going through things, but they can't put their finger on exactly what it is. In some communities, well, you can't talk about suicide, can't talk about those things. You're going crazy. But now being able to understand that they are young people who are having big emotions and not knowing how to express it, put names to it and feeling comfortable to express it, but also knowing not having the vocab. And it's generational. So it's not just them, but their parents as well, not having the proper word and language to say exactly what this is and what it's not. So I think that was something that we will love to do as a commission, to being able to provide resources around vocab. They get this really big word and they're just like, okay, but not knowing exactly what that means and the effect, especially the young girls we serve. And we have girls as young as 12 or 13 talking about birth control because they're getting that young talking about sex. And so being able to understand that these things have many effects on your body, but that's just what you are known and people say to do, but having a proper language and being able to have the resources to look it up and understand exactly what they are being told.
Awesome. And then I will speak from one of our commissioners who could not be here. We are proud to have Dr. Linda Bradley on our commission. And one of the things that she's kicking around with us is a checklist, how to teach people to be advocates for their own health. So taking all of the things that you've recommended and having a checklist. Here are the things you should ask. This is what you should be given. Here, just teaching people how to be advocates for their own health.
When they extended the health care provision to allow parents to keep their children on health insurance until 26, I think that was a great thing. However, I think it needs to be expanded a little bit more because unfortunately a lot of our young people just, maybe back in the day, a lot of folks got married at 20, 21 and had kids and they was able to buy a house by the time they was 25. That's just not the reality nowadays. I think that we could provide a little bit more support to some of our younger adults if there was a mechanism to help with healthcare, and especially as we talk about all the other disparities with wages and housing. If you can't, your priority is going to be to pay your rent first. Your priority is not going to be to pay for your health insurance. So I think that's the big problem, is just trying to help our young folks afford healthcare.
I also wanted to add that there was a conversation a few weeks ago or something I heard on the news, and it talked about the dwindling number of physicians available. And so when you go to schedule an appointment, sometimes we're talking about 6 months out, 9 months out. So we need more people in the medical field so that we can get access sooner. The other thing is we have to consider is that we have to consider the insurance companies. Insurance companies set the standards that doctors work by. I recall if I had a problem, I could go to a different doctor. Now I have to wait for my primary care for 6 months to give me a referral to the next doctor who needs another 6 months. In the meantime, I'm in pain. I'm having issues. This is continuing to become worse. When I go to this doctor, they're not quite sure. They need me to come back again. And then they need me to come back one more time. Well, based on what they think is wrong with me, they can't figure it out. So they say, you know what? It's okay. You're okay. You'll be okay. Go home and deal with it. And I can tell my own personal stories where I have been near death before they figured out what was wrong with me, because they kept saying there was nothing wrong with me. But because now I'm learning to continue to, to advocate for my own health, I'm saying that's not sufficient. Your answer is not enough. But what I have to do when I do that is I have to fight my insurance company to get them to allow these services to be given to me. Otherwise, I have to pay for this. If I don't pay for this, this then becomes a credit issue. So now we're going back to credit. We're going back to housing. We're going back to income. But we also need to make sure, again, that we are holding the insurance companies responsible and making sure that there is ways that they can also help us in this fight.
So I wanted to return again to the unhoused population and focus on the health issues there. The position that I'm in, I will be there a year tomorrow. And one of the first things I noticed was the continual and persistent use of EMS to address medical issues. My neck, my back, my cold, and they were calling EMS. EMS was rolling up to the shelter at least 10 or 12 times per day, zipping these women to the hospital, emergency rooms for small issues. So the major issue for me became, how can I get them to get on board with their own self-care and to make relationships with the medical community where they have medical homes, where you have your own doctor, where you know where to go, where you know what to do in a crisis, how to make an appointment. But because you're living on the streets, those things are not at the top of your list. Then another issue was, even if we would get them to the hospital or whatever, following up with your prescriptions. And let's face it, as Black women, don't we put ourselves second? I was trying to be nice saying second, right? But we put others ahead of us, and we get so used to functioning in pain or depressed till it becomes normal, and we don't get to the doctor until it's a tragedy. You know, so another part of it is teaching women to value ourselves. I deserve good health. I deserve it to be well. And yes, I'm going to get this prescription. Yes, I need my refill because I'm important. I matter. And with the unhoused population, that is the mentality. And then also, let's face it, pills, something to drink, right? So then there's that. So making the insurance accessible for them. And we do have those resources at the shelter where they come in and get signed up for their resources. The Metro Health bus comes once a week where the ladies can get on the bus and get treated. Care Alliance Club comes and does a clinic. And in the year that I've been here, the EMS has dropped drastically, as well as I identified a person to work on the staff to specifically only handle health issues and follow up. Does somebody need an appointment? Does somebody need a prescription? Go pick it up because she's not going to go get it. So just working to make sure Black women and girls know that your health is important, your body is beautiful and worth you to take care of it, and to reach out and get all the resources you need so you can stay here and live a quality life.
So hard to just listen.
During enslavement, the enslavers deemed Black women as superhuman, super strong, so that they could work them as hard as animals and work them like the men, and they could abuse them in ways unimaginable. That bias that Black women have this superpower, super strong, continues in today, particularly in the medical field, where you're not in that much pain, it's not hurting you that much, why are you still complaining? And Project Noir here in Cleveland did a research project, and this was one area that really came out high, the medical area. They've done another one that finished in the spring. I don't know if the results of that are out yet, but our society still has this image of Black women as they can take it, they can do it. And that's why Black girls are punished more than any other, white boys, Black boys, because there's this idea that they're age, that they're older than their age. They have an attitude. They have this because of this image that's carried on from enslavement for African-American women. And we need to really intervene that, and we really need to contradict that because we have a right to our humanity too.
You asked about the not knowing whether the results for the new Project Noir is out. So in our next meeting, we'll make sure to get the data. I just don't know. I'm going to be looking for it as you continue to talk. But we've invited them to come in and give us an overview of that current project. And so we'll be working with them and others that are doing research, including several people on our panel.
Madam Chair, if I might, I'm on their board, Enlightened Solutions. It's going to launch October 1st. So if you all look for that, that's when it'll be coming out.
Next question, you think? I think we could probably do the third and fourth question as a two-parter. Don't you think? All right. So the next set of questions, we'll just do it as one question with two parts. Feel free to answer both parts or just one. Number one, what is your vision for how this commission can be effective? Followed up with, who do you think is missing from the table? I know I heard a couple of suggestions already. So how do you think we can be effective as a commission? And who do you think is missing? Who needs to be at this table with us?
My name is Bridget. I can't think of the phrase with, it's a phrase, y'all gonna help me with it, where you make these promises you can't keep, where you say, over-promise and under-deliver. Is that to be effective, let's be realistic. I think Ms. Hall did a wonderful job in speaking like, we gonna change the world, right? As women, like making sure that you guys don't show up and give us unrealistic expectations. And that we prioritize, or you all prioritize what you're going to work on. And if it's only one thing to see it through, then so be it, but not to overextend and we get the minimal as we've always had.
Just to add to that, Rich is going to be my new best friend. To make your goals smart, specific, measurable, attainable, reliable, and time-oriented or timed. So therefore you can know that you're doing something. You know, a lot of times we talk about antidotes or we talk about we've done this, but we don't have anything where we can produce. So you're setting a goal that we're going to help 15 women, that we're going to help 2 women, whatever that is, at least you can show that you have met that goal and you can continue on. So that is one of the things that I think that you could do to ensure that you're successful in this. And then, you know, as your success goes, then there's other people who will continue to want to be a part of what you're doing and to help to undergird you in that.
Yes, hi, my name is Bianca, and if I could see one thing or one person at the table, I think community health workers being at the table. Recently, just getting my certification and being a nonprofit, I realized how valuable the CHWs are, but how underused and underserved they are in our communities. So I think that would be a great aspect.
Hello. I think one of the questions should be is where can we be more effective at? You guys got a good plan, and it seems like you have a great heart. And for me, it always in the school, because you have the majority of the students, females, are in school. The second place is in the church of worship, is where the women are and the children. So if there could be any type of program on a daily basis, like especially like in school, like I gave an example for the lunch, you know, where you could better reach the audience of the teenagers girls.
Good evening. My name is Cassandra Jones, and I'm a member here at Shiloh Baptist Church. One of the areas that I have not heard mentioned that I think is critically important for Black women is domestic violence. We all know someone, or perhaps ourselves, who have been affected by this subject, and it ties into everything else we've been talking about: housing, mental health, all of these issues. Many of them stem or and somehow are related to domestic violence. So I would like to see this as an area that the panel focuses on as well.
Hi, my name is Allie Black. I'm a writer, artist, poet. I'm the program director for the Aspire program at Hathaway Brown School. And I just want to say that I think the artists are missing, an artist is missing from the panel or from the commission. You mentioned arts and culture. I think especially for our young Black girls, somebody talked about expression. And so if there is no artist on the commission, I'm just a little afraid that that piece is going to be missing. So I think you all should tap into your artists, and I'm here.
Hello, everyone. So I just wanted to speak on something that I think maybe the commission could focus on. It's been touched on in a few different aspects here, but I just wanted to kind of flesh it out. I think that something that a lot of us lack just in the modern era is third spaces, places where we can literally just gather, where Black women just are around each other, where we can meet each other intergenerationally, whether it's mentorship, friendship, you know, meeting somebody you haven't seen in years. And I feel like this commission could kind of become a core base for that, where, you know, even if people are coming in and out of these meetings and there's kind of a revolving door, that there's some sort of base for us to like kind of revolve around. And I think that's something that's generally missing in a lot of spaces where, at least I'm a young Black woman in Cleveland. I'm a transplant. I'm from Columbus. And something that I've struggled with in the city is finding Black women mentorship that's not just professional. So whether it's spiritual, personal, anything like that, is something that I think is lacking for a lot of us. So if this commission could become kind of a home base for us, where you can, bring your daughter on Wednesday nights, and I can bring friends from law school, and, just anyone can come here who's a Black woman and know that this is a place that we can be at. I think that would be really valuable.
I would say voter education. We are very strong with voter registration, but we are not, we used to be, but something happened. We are not strong with voter education. And so the majority of things that have been discussed tonight, people need to be clear that depending upon who your representatives are, who your governor is, who your president is, will impact all of these things. We are in voting season. In November, we're going to make a decision one way or the other. And so I believe that an urgent matter that the commission can engage in is helping people to understand the issues that are on the ballot, helping them to understand. I'm not telling you to tell people who to vote for, but help them to understand who is running and who look at the things that their platforms say, and then make a determination based on that, who will serve your best interest. Because no matter who the president is, because just like we don't have home economics, we don't have civics anymore, and that's by design. People don't understand that even if you vote in a president, happens to be a Black woman, if she does not have a majority and a big majority in the House and the Senate, her hands will be tied. And then people in our community will say, well, she didn't do nothing. So we need voter education. Yes. Voter education. Voter education. Thank you.
And can I, as we pass the mic, do a selfless plug that on Thursday we will have a session here at 6 o'clock, voter education on Project 2025. Because you are right, we need to know what is on the ballot. So come out, bring other people out, and we will have people here to discuss that issue.
Will that be streamed? Can we check on your Facebook page?
We are working on that.
Okay.
So yeah, it probably will be.
Yes, that would be helpful. Thank you.
I'd like to comment on what I would like to see from the commission. So you know how whenever there's some crisis in the community, a social issue, and all of the clergy leaders show up, there's a press conference, there's a voice. I would like to see the commission, every time in our community a Black woman is raped, comes up missing, someone is evicted, or whatever injustice is happening to a Black woman and a Black girl, the commission's mouth is open. That we will be speaking, that holding press conferences, and be the voice for women in Cleveland. And when they hear the name Commission of the Black Women and Girls coming, they know that there's fire behind it, because women need a voice. We got seats at the table, but then they don't let you talk. So now this can be our voice. We get our own table. That's another thing. They won't invite you to the table, you make your own table. But now that we have a table, we got to have a voice, and a voice in the community, so they know we're not playing and they can't play with us.
Hi, I would like to offer a comment. My name is Anastasia again. A comment from an online streamer. A streamer who texted, and they said they love everything everyone was saying. Obviously, we have a lot of serious issues, but also what we need is just more fun topics to focus around the younger women and girls, just to be more uplifting. So again, finding ways we can increase more joyous, fun activities. And the second thing they mentioned, to piggyback off what you said, ma'am, just about, sorry, y'all. Just to piggyback off of what you were saying about civic education, just as we can try to see if we can use this election as a way as a jump off point for more, to be more of an advocate for women and women in politics and things like that. So thank you.
And thanks for bringing that to our attention, and shout out to all of you that are joining us. And thanks for joining us this evening, and we want you to stay engaged as well. We also make sure to have our monthly meetings live streamed so that people can participate in those, because we know everyone can't come out all the time. So for those of you who joined us late, if you take a look at, we have on the back walls, you can access our, you can get one of these here, but it'll take you right to our website and you can sign up to be a part of the website. That's where we post everything, our meetings, articles, and other information, as well as our resource page.
Good evening. My name is Monique Wingard. I am a doctoral student at Kent State University. Thank you. Something that I'm focusing on is media literacy, and specifically digital literacy, and even how our young people get news. And I apologize, I did not stand up to mention that is one of the issues that I am finding, is not just literacy in general, but again, our young people being better critical thinkers in terms of how they are taking in the news and sharing news and information and deciphering between misinformation and disinformation. But that's actually not why I stood up. I stood up to say what my vision is, and my vision is that the path to collaboration be made clear. I would be remiss if I did not mention that I represent 3 organizations that are very much addressing a lot of the issues mentioned or the pain points mentioned tonight, which those organizations are the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, the National Council of Negro Women, Cuyahoga County section, and Girls on the Run. And I know that when I go back with my notes that I've been back here typing, everyone will be excited to hear that the commission is having the community listening sessions and to see what issues need to be addressed, but they're going to want to know what's the next step and how can we help, and I know that they would very much so like to do that.
And thanks for bringing that up, because one of the things we said early on, we can't do this alone, and we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. And so one of the issues that came up in the research and other places is the silos that exist with this work. So we want to be that conduit and bridge to bring those organizations together. Our hope that a year from now, when you come to this, we started tonight with the resource tables in the basement, but you will start to see us do collaborative things with other groups. That's what we are all about.
Can you name those organizations again? I got the National Coalitions of 100 Black Women, and you had 2 more.
NCNW, the National Council of Negro Women, Cuyahoga County section, and Girls on the Run, which they will have the State of the Girl, which is going to be an international conference, will be here next year in 2025.
Thank you again. Once again, my name is Bianca, and I didn't introduce myself fully. I am the founder of Motivated and Empower Inc. Our organization started 14 years ago, really focusing on empowering the young girls in our community, and we have scaled into a full family service for girls and women. I do as well represent NCNW, but I also sit on the advisory board for Children and Family Services. And one of the things that I see and I would like to see happen is respite care. We are seeing a thing where people, when they hear respite, they think foster care. They think children who are in foster care who needs to be placed, or they're acting out in foster care. But one thing that Cuyahoga County is seeing on the rise right now is our youth being displaced and dropped off at Jane Etna Hunter building. And we're seeing it because maybe mom got into it with their daughter, or mom doesn't have a village like we used to have, and she's tired. And she doesn't want to get rid of her children, but she needs a break. And that then leads to them even being dropped off at the hospital. So I get calls in the middle of the night, Ms. Crawford, can you come to Euclid? We have 14, or we have 5, or we have 2 girls here, and we don't have a where to place them. And then we get to take them in intake. But then once you get to intake, intake is saying, hey, I don't have a place to put these kids for the night. So one of our missions for us right now is respite care, where we can create that atmosphere. Okay, bring the child here for the night. Bring the girl here. Tomorrow we'll bring a case manager and a counselor in. We'll do an assessment and see where we need to make that referral. Is it Children Family Services? Is it Family First, where we can give them some resources, like really understanding that? And then the other thing is youth mental health in school. The children are getting to school and we can't focus on education. And we're getting to the point where behavioral health and mental health is taking over the school atmosphere. And our teachers are tired and we're like, oh, they're not doing their job. Well, they can't do their job because they're focused on mental health and they're focused on behavioral health. And unfortunately, we service 32 schools right now, but that is our capacity at the moment. And we're getting so many calls to say, Ms. Crawford, but can you do it for free? Ms. Crawford, can you do that? And right now, even CMS is saying we don't have ESTR dollars anymore. We don't have the money to bring you in to do tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 services. So my vision is if we can really wrap around those services around our girls and really support them in that mental, emotional, and behavioral health, so then they can get the education that they need, and that will help them. So that would be my vision as well.
I don't feel well. I feel vulnerable. I feel like there's something about my housing. There's something about my mental health. There's something about this child that I told not to do this and they're doing it. I feel all of that. Everything you said here tonight, I respect, and I'm so happy about the commission. All of you that have these various groups, they're all good, but they're separated. I wish there was some way that we could put all this talent and all the groups together for the benefit of Greater Cleveland. Suppose I live 2 streets over. Who's going to come to me? Who is trained to say, you need this? Think about your health care. Do this and do that. Who's going to do that? Who's going to follow up to see that it's done? People need to be trained, and I think training has to start in the schools for our youngsters. Our youngsters know far too much, a lot more than you think they know. And so they're going through all this at home, all the things their parents and guardians are going through. They need training too, so that they don't fall into a generational gap that we're talking about here tonight. I think that all the groups are wonderful. I just wish that in the future, near future, not tomorrow, that we could get together and find a way to train more people who can come to you and say, I can help this person. I have 16 people. They said they're going to do more with their health care. I know they are. I talk with their doctors. There are not enough people trained to do that. So I think training is very important. But I think a meeting like this is just the beginning. And I thank the commission for the work that you're doing. And I still feel vulnerable. Thank you.
Okay, my vision for the commission. Sisterhood, I want to see sisterhood. Lead by example. I don't want to talk about nobody, but we seen a commission start some years ago. And if you see them now, it's horrible. What's being shown on TV and how the discord that's happened amongst them. The safety commission, the police commission. But we don't want to see that or anything like that. And we holding yourself to a standard, a high standard in any event that you can't maintain that standard, removing yourself or stand in the closet, however that happens. Don't be bought. I do understand we got some political figures on there, but I hope we can separate church and state and keep it separate and show it for the people and not the politicians to the best of our ability. And to keep an ear to the people, keep an ear to real issues, and just because it's your experience don't mean it's not going on. So being open and receptive to what's going on to communities and pockets of the world that you're not a part of. I'm sorry. And to the voter education and registration, we have created a civic engagement collaborative, and we have set out to meet people where they are, as opposed doing something a little different than what's typically done. We got a meet in here or a meet in there. We're showing up in spaces where the conversation don't ordinarily happen. We initially started at Your Place and Mine on 55th. We moved to the Box Spot, and we did a couple of events this past year there, and tomorrow is our next event, and it's at Finn Cafe, formerly known as the Sunny Spot, I believe. Sunny Spot at Finn Cafe. So it's tomorrow evening. I will tell you, Thursday evening, Thursday the 26th. It has been absolutely marvelous today. The response and the reception of the people in the spaces have been absolutely amazing. You would be amazed at where we're at and how uncomfortable we are in showing up where our motto is this: from PhD to GED and all the way in between, come to our events. And the comfort that individuals have felt in speaking up and sharing their stance, you'll be amazed. So I invite or encourage you all to come out if you get an opportunity. You have the schedule. Thursday, September 26th is our next one. We're going to do October 10th, October 24th, and then November 5th on Election Day. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but we have encouraged, we allow for open conversation, open dialogue. We don't try to sway. We allow all information, and we are there. And we also connect with local politicians and others to have the conversation, because some of us are just misinformed or we just do not know. And last thing, somebody mentioned about the schools and what's going on. The CMSD levy is on the ballot. And we say, the young lady to my far right, with the services that she's doing in the schools to help out, making sure that we are informing our neighbors, our brothers and sisters, and everybody that CMSD levy is on the ballot. We can't afford, I love the example that this pastor here said, today the money looks big, but our tomorrow, we can't afford the cost of not putting the resources in the school to accommodate our kids, especially the mental health services.
Hi, my name is Sherry Bowman. I was on the Community Relations Board with the City of Cleveland. I turned out in 2021. First, I want to say to the pastor that's over there, voter education is a must, but it doesn't just happen around election time. It needs to be an ongoing process because issues are always evolving. And one issue will lead you into the next issue, which will lead you into the biggest issue come election time. The second thing I want to say is I've heard a lot of good discussion about what women need and Black women need in particular. Black women need health care. We need better housing. We need to educate our kids. We need to talk more about mental health and making it less of a stigma as it was when I was growing up and some others were growing up. I haven't heard one mention of Black women who live in the LGBTQ community. They have no representation on this board. When it was drawn up, it wasn't even put in as a qualification. And Black women in the LGBT community need everything that all of us as Black women require as well. Thank you.
Hello. That's not me, is it? Okay. Recently, I mentioned that I'm a librarian. I'm a nerd. So I was downtown at the Cleveland Public Library reading the research on the Cleveland Commission on School Integration. If some of you are old enough to remember, they have a wealth of information about all the listening sessions, all the communication, all the things that they did to try to make integration of Cleveland schools and the busing a success. As we know, that didn't work, right? They started that in about 1966 or so. And Cleveland schools are still fairly segregated, right? I mention all that because you say, what is our vision? My vision for this commission is success, but not just success now, success in 50 years. You all serve at the pleasure of this mayor. So I'm hoping that some supports or something can be put in place so that when Mayor Bibb is no longer here, that the work doesn't go away. And I'm also concerned because as I was reading through all the information on Cleveland Schools integration, you all talked about voter education. Well, I think part of the reason that the project failed is that those type of changes, systemic changes, take a long time, right? It takes a lot of dedication and people to keep moving it forward. And so it's like, okay, we're here today, we're gonna start it off great, but who's gonna pick it up in 15 years, right? Who's gonna continue the work? Because this isn't something that's gonna be solved overnight. There are probably some things, some goals that we can achieve in 1 year or 5 years or 10 years, but to really make an impact, you're looking at a trajectory of at least, 30, 40 years from now. So that's my vision.
Councilwoman, what do you think? Are we talked out? We got more?
I forgot to mention, I'm hoping that the commission can also look at best practices. There has to be some other commissions that were successful. Please, let's not all reinvent the wheel. If there are things that we can learn from other City of Cleveland commissions that really work well that we can incorporate into the work here, I think we need to bring those ideas forth.
Thank you. We want to thank everyone for all of your comments and feedback. I do know as we prepare to wrap up that we have our resource fair downstairs, and so many of those organizations are downstairs and are eagerly awaiting to see you. And so we do want to honor their time as well. We also have around the building in the back, we have posted pads, and there are also sticky notes that you can post any additional comments, ideas on those sticky pads. Also, the suggestion box in the back. So I know there are things that come up afterwards that you think about. We want to encourage you to put those on the pads in the back or in the suggestion box so that we can continue to follow up on everything that has been said.
And if you had a suggestion, like the young woman who was talking about the Commission on Integration, School Integration in the City of Cleveland, if you would mind just sharing that resource with us. I know we probably can find it, but if it's readily available, if you can share it, and that was for everyone, if you all can make sure that you send that to us, it would be greatly, greatly important. There is something about history that I think is vitally important, and I will tell you, the Shirley Chisholm book, it's a very good one. But one of the things she mentioned is that usually the creation of commissions are where things go to die. And we just cannot afford to have this commission be something just for name's sake, bells and whistles. We actually have to get some things done. So again, thank you all so much for joining us.
And let's give our two commissioners who have served as leaders for this portion a round of applause. I will tell you that the women you see in this room and those on this board who are not available tonight, we're committed. I don't waste my time. We have long conversations about wanting to make a difference, we have a lot on our plate already. And so we don't need to be sitting here. We want to be sitting here and we want to make a difference. And we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We want to tear down silos. We want to collaborate, and we want to have the voices in the room. And as you suggest, we are starting with best practices. We have the people who have done the research at our table and working with us. And so you have given us rich thought tonight, and we thank you for being candid with us. You will see us moving on some of the things that you have suggested tonight. If you want to be a part of this, you could also leave your name and contact information in the suggestion box. So next steps is we have our October meeting that we will be publicizing. And again, the individuals responsible for Project Noir will be giving their information in October. You have an opportunity to, Sherry could maybe consider being part of us or suggesting someone who should, because we do have positions available. And then make sure that you stay connected with our website as well. We have for you some light refreshments in the auditorium downstairs. We have resources. People have given their time. Please, if you go out this way and downstairs, correct? Okay, go see those individuals, and we are sticking around to talk to you if you like. Yes. So those of you who are online, if you go to our website, you can send information. I'm gonna also give you my email address for those of you. I'm going to give you my personal one because I don't have, no, can't give you my personal one. If you, I got it.
So you can reach us. My city email is lgoods@clevelandohio.gov. And if you go to our webpage, there's a link that you can contact any one of us. But there is also a place where you can request contact or send information. There's a contact form on the website as well.
I didn't want to give the wrong one, so thank you for that. So thank you for your participation. It's not over. Go down and get some refreshments. We have some water as well and some resources. People are lugging in information for you, so please access that. And motion to adjourn the meeting at 6:52. They have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much.